Hello and welcome to Caring, France 24's humanitarian programme. This week we're taking you to Africa, to the Democratic Republic of Congo, one of the countries menaced by the Lord's Resistance Army. Better known by the acronym LRA, the rebels' goal to create a government based on the Bible's 10 Commandments. This is a vicious terrorist organisation that's made up in large part from Ugandan rebels. They spread devastation and chaos through every region that they cross. Despite a US-backed coordinated effort launched by Sudan, Uganda and Congo to flush out these insurgents, and despite some 17,000 UN peacekeepers deployed to the area to try to keep control, the rebels have dodged all attempts towards a ceasefire. Their terrifying campaign rages on. Now, as always, it's the civilians who bear the brunt of these atrocities, singled out by the LRA to swell their ranks. Often child soldiers forced to fight in a conflict that they know or care nothing about. Our journalists travelled to meet the survivors and see for themselves the deep scars that they bear. They also met with women who've been snatched and used as sex slaves, subjected to appalling cruelty. France 24's Arnaud, Zajtman and Marlene Rabaud sent us this moving report.
This village's young people don't work in the fields or go to school. They parade, singing about how invincible they are, and that with them, the population has nothing to fear. Machetes, hunting rifles, and knives. They've gotten hold of anything they can to protect their families. But even such rudimentary weapons have their uses. These people killed some 40 Ugandan rebels who attacked them in January.
We're hunters, we're fishermen. When you're faced with the problem of the LRA, well, when you want to shoot an animal, you aim at it. When you want to shoot a man, you aim at him too.
With the forest controlled by rebels, the village is completely cut off from the rest of the country. There are just a few rare cyclists who try to bring in fuel from Sudan. Ugandan army soldiers are deployed closer to the front line under an agreement with the Congolese government. It's a joint operation financed by the United States and aimed at finishing off rebels with the LRA, the Lord's Resistance Army.
On our first day when we reported here, the LRA had gathered over 100 people and they were about to take them. Our force repulsed them and rescued those people. So later on we decided to pinch a camp here so that we can protect the civilians that had remained here, because we have the elderly people who are here and could not walk long distances for their lives, for their dear lives.
The Ugandan soldiers have chased the rebels out of the destroyed villages, but they haven't eliminated them completely. During the fighting, they were able to rescue children taken by the LRA.
When they captured me, the rebels put machetes in the fire and they burnt my back. Then they made us carry everything they'd plundered from the village.
Since the beginning of the offensive in December, the rebels have splintered into smaller groups and taken revenge on the local population. The International Criminal Court has a warrant out for rebel leader Joseph Kony, but he hasn't given himself up. A long way from his own country, Uganda, he's still sowing desolation in Congo. For 15 years, the country has served as a sanctuary for all kinds of rebellions across Central Africa. But Congo's also heavily fought over for its vast mineral riches. At the moment, the fighting is getting closer to the Kilomoto gold mines. They're richer in gold than almost anywhere else on the planet. Just 5 years ago, the Ugandan army itself armed the militias to control the mines. This new offensive has an air of familiarity about it for the region's inhabitants.
The Ugandans aren't totally reassuring because, you see, with the arrival of the Ugandans, the LRA keeps bothering the Congolese population.
There are many dead.
A lot of dead. Uganda's not helping us.
Is it because of the gold?
They're here just because of the gold. Well, we're talking about politics here. But we're not interested in that. We just do business. Right, okay, thanks, bye.
In spite of such incredible wealth, Congo's humanitarian crisis seems to be without end. It spreads all over the country, and wherever it goes, the effects are the same. In Ngalima's community clinic, it takes on the form of refugee children suffering from malaria. Sometimes these malnourished children make it to relative safety too late. Hanging between life and death, they're the weakest, the first victims of the war in Congo. This man took a beating by Ugandan rebels with machetes who left him for dead. Thanks to voluntary efforts by Congolese nurses and medical supplies brought in by aid group Doctors Without Borders, he should survive. This woman was a prisoner in the Central African Republic for 1 year. She was forced into sexual slavery by the rebels.
The Ugandan army freed me. For 11 months, the rebels took me for their wife. All of us who were there had to accept it, whether we wanted to or not.
Further south in Ngalima village, this aircraft is the only one around. It's raised disproportionate hope in the refugees. It's only here to bring in medicine and evacuate the wounded.
Who's in charge of the district?
It's me.
There's no name. It's for the family of a young man who's died, okay? Can you do that for me?
Ok. Pouvez-vous faire ça pour moi? Ouais. Frère Agnew, hein? Ouais, frère Agnew, oui. Ok. Il est décédé de...
He died after an LRA attack. He was shot, then cut with a machete. A little more than a week ago.
Oui, à peu près une semaine. Ok, au revoir. Ok, les amis, on se pousse un peu.
Refugees have flooded in en masse. They've left their fields and built new shelters. The children are on their own. Some lost their parents when they fled. Since the outbreak of hostilities 6 months ago, schools in the region have been swamped by refugees.
The school's been shut since September 22nd. We couldn't keep going because the LRA was threatening us, killing people with their machetes. So we welcomed people in. Everyone arrived in mid-November.
You fear they'll keep coming?
Yes, we fear it. We're afraid because with the enlargement over there, it's really savage.
Can we go into the classroom?
Yes, we can go in. Look, people sleep at night on the ground. You see, this is a classroom.
The Red Cross and the Catholic Church have pulled out all the stops since the crisis began. They're the only two institutions in Congo that have worked since the beginning of the conflict.
He's a refugee. He came from Kapili, 40 kilometers from here. They're traumatized, angry, annoyed with the LRA. They've been overtaken by events, and sometimes they even want to kill themselves. So with all that's happening, we have to advise them so they can understand life, that we're not in this world forever.
It's more a psychologist's role you have.
Why not? A priest is a sort of go-between for people in the sciences. So that's why we try to counsel them, try to help them understand that life isn't over when someone dies. They need to see the future, and they need to know that humanity isn't so evil.
The refugees are still praying for their ordeal to be over. And meanwhile, the massacres continue.
Well, that's it then for this edition of Caring. I do hope that you enjoyed it. You can watch that episode again, as well as previous editions on our website. Until the next time, bye-bye for now, and thank you.